Hey, what's up, everybody? Our first ever Excavate Online message. So, Pastor Kellen, I miss you guys. Service, unfortunately, we can't. So, we're going to roll with the punches, all right? So, here we go. We're just going to jump right in. We're starting a new series, and it's called The Comeback. Right now, we're all feeling like we've been beat down. We've been just kind of, we just feel, doom and gloom. It's all dark, and today was an overcast day when I shot this video. It was just rainy and stuff, and we just kind of feel down. But I want you guys to know, and we want you to understand that God has a comeback prepared for every one of us. We're not down, we're not out. We have a comeback prepared. God is ready for it, and He's preparing us in this time if we'll allow Him, if we'll seek Him first, and seek what He wants to do in our lives. He's preparing us for a comeback to be even greater than we expected. And so I want to start by telling you guys a little story about a young lady that I read recently. We're going to call her name is Amy. Amy was a young girl at the age of 4 or 5 years old. Her dad started giving her alcohol, and then at the young age of 8, 9, 10 years old, he started giving her marijuana, getting her to be high and to be drunk. And the reason he did this was a very sick and cruel idea, but it was so that he could take advantage of her and abuse her. Amy, at a very young age of 11, tried to run away from home. And in doing so, she got caught by her parents and brought back home, right back into that abusive, incredibly horrible situation. At the age of 14, Amy finally ran away from home and was successful. And she made it somehow into a ministry for teens who were abused or hurting or just in trouble. And she made it into this ministry. And in the matter of 13 days of from running away from home to making it into this ministry, she met Jesus. And in that short amount of time, she began to understand and realize the love that God has for her, the love that He has for you and me. And in that moment, He began to change her from the inside out. You see, Amy had a messed up life. Amy had a life that had been torn apart and broken apart, but God had a plan for her. He still has a plan for her. He has a comeback ready for Amy. In Revelation chapter 2, verse 4 through 5, it says, "But I have this complaint against you. You do not love me or each other as you did at first. Look how far you have fallen. Turn back to me and do the works you did at first. If you don't repent, I will come and remove your lampstand from its place among the churches." Hosea chapter 12, verse 6 says this, "So now come back to your God, act with love and justice, and always depend on Him." Over the next few weeks, you're going to hear those scriptures quite often because we want to keep it in the front of our mind that God, we believe, is calling us to come back to a place where we love Him more than anyone and anything else, but where we love others as much as we love ourselves, if not more. And Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment? He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart. And He said the second one is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. And if we don't love God and we don't love ourselves, then we're putting ourselves in a place where our comeback is even harder. But I want you to understand that God has got a comeback for every one of us. You see, I'll tell you this story about this girl named Amy because I want you to understand, no matter where we come from, God has a plan for us. He has a plan. But just like Amy was given a new life by Jesus, He wants to give you and I a new life. You may say, Pastor Jason, what are you talking about? I'm a Christian. I've been serving God. And that may be true, and I'm proud of you if that's you. And if it's not you, that's okay. But here's what I know is that even though that I've been serving God, even though that I've been doing the right things, sometimes I do the right things just to do the right things, and I miss Jesus in the right things. Sometimes I do the right things because it's what I'm supposed to do, and I forget to focus on God while I'm doing the right things. See, that's what Jesus does, though, is He takes us that are broken. He takes things that are people that are broken, that are hurting, that are torn apart, that are beat up, and He gives them a new life. He gives us a fresh start when we just ask Him for it. He's waiting for us to ask Him and to come to Him. He gives us a comeback from sin, from disappointment, from shame. He gives us a comeback from doubt, from sicknesses, from betrayal, from denial. He gives us a comeback from so many different things. The list can go on and on and on. But what I want you to understand is he gives us a comeback. He gives us a new chance. There's a story in Luke chapter 7, verse 11 through 17. I want to read it to you real quick. It says this, verse 11, soon afterward, Jesus went with his disciples to the village of Nain, and a large crowd followed him. A funeral procession was coming out as he approached the village gate. The young man who had died was a widow's only son, and a large crowd from the village was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart overflowed with compassion. Don't cry, he said. Then he walked over to the coffin and touched it, and the bearer stopped. Young man, he said, I tell you, get up. Then the dead boy sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. Great fear swept the crowd, and they praised God, saying, a mighty prophet has risen among us. And God has visited his people today. And the news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding countryside. Well, this is a very cool story and a very kind of jaw-dropping. I want to explain the intensity of it. In this time, a woman was taken care of by the men in her family, her husband or her sons. And so when Jesus saw this parade coming out, what he realized is that there was no one with this widow. There was no one with this woman. She was leading the parade behind the casket by herself. She was alone. And so immediately Jesus recognized what was going on, and he recognized this is her son, her only son. Her husband is already gone. She's already widowed. So now she has no one left to take care of her, and Jesus had compassion on her. And he went over and he began to do something about the situation. And when he did, the Bible says that he had compassion on her, but he spoke to the young man, rise up. And he brought life back into that young man. You see, some of us are just like that young man, that our passion for Jesus is that, our passion for God is that. Some of us, our relationship, we've set it down and walked away from it, and we've allowed stuff to take the place of God. And I believe that right now God is saying, I want to bring life back to you, not just in a physical way, but in the spiritual way. I want to bring you back into a right place with me. I want to bring you back into a right standing with me, that I can bring you back to life, that I can continue to use you in an incredible way. Jesus saw a need, and he had compassion on the woman and her son. Jesus initiated a comeback for the widow and for her son. I believe that today Jesus wants to initiate a comeback in your life as well. You may think that you're no good, you've messed up, you've gone too far, you've done this, you've done that, but I want you to understand, it doesn't matter how far we run away, Jesus is always one step back. What are you saying? One step back? Yeah. And as soon as I take one step back towards God, no matter how far I've run from God, no matter how far I've run from Jesus, when I turn around, I take one step back towards him, he meets me right there, because he's ready and he's waiting to take us back in and to lift us up and give us a comeback in our life. Man, right now the world is going crazy, and we feel like we're missing out on so much stuff. Seniors, you guys feel like you're missing out, and you're missing out on prom. You're possibly missing out on even getting to go to prom. You're possibly missing out on getting to have a real regular graduation, and I get the stress that puts you in. But understand this, even though the things we're going through, God is setting us up for a comeback. There are others of you that you don't know if you're going to get to finish this school year like you normally would. You may not get to finish baseball or basketball or track or so many other things. You may not get to finish the year like normal. But understand, if we'll take this time and we'll focus on God, he will set us up for a comeback, that when everything gets back into motion, when everything gets back into the normal, if we'll focus on him now, if we'll take time away from being mourning what's going on and focus on loving and serving God and digging deep into the Bible, digging deep into the Word, and spending time praying and talking to Jesus, I'll tell you what, he's setting us up for a comeback, that if we'll seek him now, when the time is right, he will put us in the right places to have the comeback of a lifetime. The lives will be changed. That otherwise, if we just go through the motions now, they may never hear about Jesus. But if we'll prepare our hearts now, he's preparing us for a comeback to make a difference in lives we may never even realize. This is a time And the story is a great story about Jesus bringing life back in this man. But this is a time where God, I believe, is wanting to prepare our hearts. Yes, it's a hard time. Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, there are people losing their jobs. Yes, there are people who are barely making it. There are people who are sick. There are people who are going through something they've never been through before. And in this moment is our time to have compassion. You see, a comeback isn't always down the road. Sometimes a comeback is right now. For some of us, the comeback is right now. Are you going to have compassion on those that are around you and begin to share the love of Jesus now? Or are you going to wait until the time is right? Can I tell you the time is right now? The time is right now to have compassion and to let Jesus start the comeback in your heart and in your life. You see, he's not surprised by what's going on. God, this isn't a surprise to him. He's not sitting back going, oh my goodness, what do? I didn't know this was coming. He knew. He knows all things. And he's not surprised, and he understands right where you're at. He understands right where I'm at. And he says, if you'll let me, I'm ready for a comeback. But I need you to see like I see, to have compassion and to begin to step out and to meet needs now. If you'll begin to have the compassion that Jesus had, I'm going to initiate a comeback in their life, but in your life that you've never seen before. And so here's my challenge to you guys. Is number one, what is God speaking into your life right now that he wants to bring back to life, that he wants to bring a comeback in your life? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a dream you had to go to school, maybe it's a dream you had to graduate, maybe it's a dream for you seniors to go farther than anyone in your family's ever gone. Maybe it's a dream that you thought would never come to pass, but tonight or today, whatever it is, God is saying, I want to bring that back to life, but I want it to start now. I don't want to wait till tomorrow or next week or next year. I want to bring the comeback now and initiate the comeback now so that I can change your life, but I can use you to change others' lives. What is God speaking to you that he wants to bring a comeback to? Second thing is this. What do you need to do right now? What do you need to do right now in your life to allow that comeback to begin? What do you need to change? What do you need to start doing? Whatever it is, do it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next week or when you're older or when you're wiser or when you graduate or when you're an adult. Jesus wants to use you right now as a student. He wants to use you right now where you're at. He wants to teach you to have the compassion that you would see and not see somebody being mean or somebody wasting a life, but he would see the hurt in their heart, the hurt in their eyes, to have compassion and to reach out and to do something. What is God speaking to you that he wants to bring back to life? That's the question I have for you today.